What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're testing Tesla's full self-driving software. We have Shelby Church joining us for the show.
Hello.
So Tesla has rolled out their full self-driving software to 2,000 people right now, and we wanted to see how close is this going to be to actually going all the way where every Tesla has this and it can truly drive itself. So what better way to do that than actually spend the day driving around LA, trying it, putting the Tesla software in weird situations, and kind of just seeing what happens.
If it can survive the LA streets, I think it's like really good, because there's some interesting things here, and definitely like aggressive drivers more than most areas.
And so you have a Tesla,
yes.
And what's your first take on like seeing this versus normal autopilot?
It's crazy. It feels like you're seeing like a behind the scenes version of it. Oh, it doesn't know what to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's...
Yeah, we're on a street that's like so tight, if another car comes you have to like slow down. No, but it's like I can see why they didn't roll this out to everyone. I was thinking the last software update, I was like, oh, do I have it? Wow, it got pretty close.
This is this is like a triple black diamond right after the start. I feel like honestly that it did that all by itself.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Dang.
Wow. So that's pretty cool, and see it like sees like I was like, oh shit, there is a stop sign there, but it kind of sees it way before you do.
Yeah. No, I feel like we're seeing like the programmer's like version of this. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And then it's waiting for our turn, isn't that cool?
Yeah. I like that it shows you what it's gonna do. Like it goes stopping in 5, 4, 3, 2. This is so
wow.
crazy.
See, that's like a human. Like that's like what you would do too, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it stopped and like crept up a little bit. That's crazy. I mean, so far so good.
Right?
I kind of trust it more than some of my friends that drive.
I think it's going to be crazy in 30 years when we look back, we're like, we let humans drive. Like that was such a mistake. And then you see like how these people like accelerate and like swerve and cut in front of you because they're pissed or whatever. And it's like, this is on the road and there's trucks. Traffic, I think, happens because of that. Like someone gets annoyed, they pass you in the right lane and they have to like slow down really fast. And then that kind of causes traffic. But autopilot will kind of get rid of a lot of that.
Yeah, because all the cars will be on the same like wavelength, like probably communicating with each other too if they can. So they'll like know to stop before and not have that domino effect of traffic.
You're kind of like navigating like a spaceship, you know. That's how you probably feel on normal autopilot, but like even more on this. It's like, yep, got my command center, scrolling with this little wheel, like.
Oh yeah, so that just makes it go a little faster, a little slower.
Yeah. Like
the normal autopilot. So we're on the streets of LA, and yeah, this is West Hollywood, so definitely like, I don't know, not like the toughest driving ever, but you get some aggressive drivers here, and we'll see how it handles it. Like that right there, though.
And like, that was right in front of the yellow, and it totally handled it. So this is the speed that I have it programmed to at the maximum. This is the speed we're going. And then obviously like this is the track and it's following, it sees that car. And that's why it's not hitting the speed. And they have actually kicked people off for like checking their phone or filming while they're on FSD. So that's one thing to be careful of, because you're still definitely supposed to be paying attention. We're already kind of running the experiment to see, and I have to watch it, but then over time, like the interventions will drop less and less. Like that's kind of the theory, is like it'll happen, then you don't even realize it, that like in a week or 2 weeks, you haven't even intervened in your car, but that just is what it is. And so that in the meantime, like we're all testing this, Tesla's building up this case to give to governments and being like, look at with decreasing frequency, how many interventions occur. And this is kind of like the real world safety test. I don't know, it seems pretty epic, because I'm like, for another company to pull that off, like how are they gonna do it? When you have Lucid, it's like, okay, what's the ultimate luxury? Since they're, you know, more luxury than the Tesla, like probably having your car drive you. I think that'll be like the ultimate thing. So it's like you're gonna have a Ferrari, but like you have to drive it. That'll look so lame, but you paid way more. So I think even though like the 10,000, people trip about, oh, it's 10,000, how are we gonna afford 20,000? Because that's what I think they're gonna hike the price to.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, it's worth it.
Buy that now.
Like, I think this is worth 25K. Like, it'll just drive itself basically good enough. I don't know.
I think it's worth it too, because if the robo-taxi network is up and running, you know, it'll pay for itself. You can just let your car go drive and earn money. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. The cars would have to like really be able to drive themselves without someone in the front for it to be worth it, right? Otherwise it's just like an Uber. I bet the car will get to that point, but it would just be hard for the government to allow it. So I don't know.
Right.
I think it would be cool because it would be so nice to have your car, like say you're going out to eat, whatever. Everywhere here parking is so annoying, so for it to just go like drive itself somewhere and then come pick you up would be the best.
And you hear all these stats of like how many miles of parking lots do we have like per person in the country, and it's like even like LA, like everything is designed to have this parking spot, which is like 10 or 20% of your real estate. And it's like, imagine if we free that up with just having electric cars, or like these cars that can kind of park themselves nearby and then come to you when you want them. Like that's such a, I don't know, I feel like every time I'm making a move in LA, it's like, shit, where am I gonna park? Like,
Totally.
right?
And it would completely change how the city looks. It would be a lot cooler. Like there'd just be so much more room for stuff.
And the safety thing I feel like is really big too. Like if you factored in the healthcare cost of all the crashes that happen, that would just be so much money and such a big human toll. And that's why I feel like Elon and the Tesla team don't get kind of enough credit for like trying to tackle this problem. And it's like, this is actually a really big public health crisis, that the #1 way people like our age die basically is car crashes or get injured. And nobody kind of, it's like, oh, we just kind of take that for granted. But that's a huge cost that I think Tesla's actually solving. It's like, yeah, honestly, the government should be like funding and encouraging this and like really being super supportive.
I thought I was gonna be like a little nervous to try this, but after seeing you try it, I'm like, it's not, it was chill. So yeah, let's do it. Let's just have the car drive for me. So you do you have to kind of like let it know you're there?
Yeah.
Okay. It's crazy. Okay. Here we go. Feels chill so far. No cars around. And it says stopping for traffic control in 500 feet. So I like that. Like that makes me feel like I know what's going on. I know it knows what's going on.
It saw that stop sign way ahead of time.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And it's gonna turn left. That's cool, because I don't even really know where we're going. Wow. I've never had mine do that, so this is so crazy. Stopping for another traffic control, 200 feet. And, oh, autopilot, waiting for our turn. Oh, so sometimes it waits a little long, I guess, at these stoplights that the other people are like, are you gonna go? And then they start to go, and the car's like, what? Okay.
You just gotta give it a little bit of gas when that happens.
Oh, okay,
or not gas, but electrons.
Yeah. I know, I always say that. I'm like, acceleration.
Like that move right there is like the coolest thing. It's like you just like, and then you hear the sound and it's like, wow.
You're like it sounds like a spaceship. Then it was
sounds
cool
like a spaceship.
It like realized there were some cars over there, so it kind of like swooped over.
Yeah, it does a lot of subtle stuff, which is interesting, and you're like, wow, you don't realize how much humans adjust to their environment with really subtle things when you drive.
And now, okay, nice. That felt good. This might be one of the more nerve-wracking moments because we don't have a green arrow, so it's got a lot to look for. But we're good to go.
No oncoming traffic though, so
yeah. Okay, so it was a little slow. If I was driving, I probably would have made that one, but I'm glad that it was hesitant because that would be a little scary if it was just going for it.
So you don't have full self-driving on your car, right?
No, I just have like the normal autopilot, the most basic one you use just on the freeway, really. Like I would never use it on a street like this because I would be afraid I would forget to stop for like a stoplight. Like I would just be paying attention to the car in front of me. So I really only use it on the freeway, but it's so nice because in LA you're on the freeway most of the time that you're going more than like 5 miles. So yeah, I really have liked it. And you can just chill out. You don't have that like driving fatigue that you get in traffic. Like I almost sometimes, it sounds weird, but prefer when there's traffic because it feels a little safer to just like, okay, I'm giving it some juice to like let it know it's good to go. All right. Okay, it's kind of slow on the actual turn, but hey, it did it.
So do you think you would want FSD or like buy the subscription package once this came, like they made it a little bit better and then it's like city streets, like it can't totally drive itself, but it basically like this gets better. Do you think a lot more people will pay for it once that happens?
I think so. Maybe not. I think people really want to pay for it when they're allowed to just zone out. Like when it's so good, they're allowed to like sit in the back seat, you know?
Yeah, the true autonomy.
Yeah, because at this point you are a little bit like, I may as well just be driving myself. But it's cool to see. I don't know, do you find that you use it on surface streets, or are you like, I can drive faster?
It kind of depends. There's a tricky situation where there's like a four-way stop and it's not well marked, then it's like, you know, I'm not gonna risk it. But if it's on a road like this, where it's like a really nice arterial, you know, and it's just really well marked, like this is gonna crush it. And so this is really, yeah, I don't know. It already adds a ton of value. Has this test made you more or less confident in Tesla's self-driving program? Like, do you think we're closer than you thought or further?
I think more confident, because I don't feel like nervous right now, because it's giving you so much information about what it's going to do next. So you don't feel like you don't know what's going on. Like, I like that you can see what it can see, so you know like that it knows, or you're aware, like if for some reason it did mess up and didn't see a stoplight, which it hasn't had that issue yet, you would know to stop. But yeah, I feel good about it. I feel like this is, I mean, this is like a world of a difference from the basic autopilot I have. It's crazy.
And so what's your take on the like truly level 5 robotaxi? Like when do you think that's going to get solved or happen?
I bet you Tesla is able to make it happen, like, you know, somewhat fast, but they'll just run into issues with the government maybe not allowing it. I saw an article that was like Tesla's gonna make its own cities, or if they have their own roads, then it would feel like really safe. I feel like full self-driving will be really ideal in suburbs where it's not any like crazy weird windy roads, no one-way streets, like really wide roads. Like I'm just imagining, you know, those kind of like cookie cutter, like really planned out cities. It could potentially be so perfect for that.
The Comedy Store?
Yeah.
Legendary. One of Tesla's secret sauces is like that they have all these users that were kind of training it with like a good conscience. Like we want to help Tesla, we want to help the mission, and we're kind of doing it appropriately and training it. So like every time there's a disengagement, every time we're doing the speed thing, like that's all tracked to make it so, you know, Tesla can use and improve that data. And I feel like the thousands, soon to be like 1 million people who are gonna all be trying it, all be making it better. That's like the X factor that no other company has, is that kind of like army of, you know, fan people, whatever, but we're actually really helping Tesla. And so, I don't know, I feel like that's such a cool like part of the secret sauce, you know?
Totally.
So this is version 8.2.
Nice.
And apparently they're gonna come out with a new one soon that's much better. Like version 9 is the big update, and that's when it's gonna get rolled out to everyone. So I feel like that'll be a really big cultural moment where like everyone who has FSD can just do the like, you know, and then activate it, like just like people posting on social media about that, like, you know?
Yeah. And it's nice you don't have to like think about where you're turning next, because it already knows to do that. It already knows like it's gonna need to get in a different lane at some point, I'm sure. I'm interested to see what it does when we get to the Comedy Store. It will just give up in the middle of sunset. Okay, I'll put it back and see if it's able to make the lane change. Except it cannot be on 15 miles per hour. Okay. I don't know, I feel like that car's not gonna let me in. Well, oh, I guess it was going to.
Wow.
Whoa.
The AI had a better read on that.
I should have trusted it. Oh, and it went for it that time. I'm proud.
Another cool thing is this sort of like rendering.
Oh, you can
like it's
move
really
that?
in like, you know, this 3D space or whatever.
And it gets really wide. Like at first I thought it was just gonna show like kind of what's near you, but it showed that entire 6-way stop.
Yeah.
That was like hundreds of feet away.
And this is like when we have Ex Machina robots, you know, how are they going to navigate around the world? It's going to be like a vision-based system like this. And this is what their brains will be processing. So that's why Tesla's so crazy. Like this technology is really like cutting edge just robotics and AI and like how robots like kind of like see the real world, which is so much bigger than just the car. And Tesla, like they had to do the self-drive, you know, their whole chip, that's a custom chip for this. Like they have that neural net team.
It's tripping a little bit there. Okay.
It's still on autopilot.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sometimes it likes to do like a little wiggle. Like it really likes that.
Just feeling out the road. Look at all, like this is such a complicated scenario for it.
Right? So you see all the cars coming.
Yeah.
I'm so curious what this is gonna look like when it goes to the mainstream, basically. Because it's a lot smoother when you see it on the normal autopilot, like with all the beautiful lanes, and it just sees the road, and it's super clean and simple.
Check it out. It's got.
Oh, it's that. It has that guy.
So I guess I'll give it a little. Let it know it can go.
That's so.
There we go. This is probably one of the hardest things for it to do. Turn left on a green light like that. Because it's got to know if there's pedestrians or people coming, and it didn't creep forward like a human would, so that's one thing to note. I could see other LA drivers being like, why are you going forward? Like, come on. Like, definitely not a person driving. But hey, it did it.
Like with this full self-driving thing, it's like if it was anyone else, I'd be like, shit, like I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off. But with Elon, it's like, dude, this guy did rockets, like he's landing rockets, like he's built like $6 billion companies. It's like, dude, like there's not a better business resume.
Seriously.
My favorite part about this is feels like a moment in history. It's like we're documenting this like project that Tesla's doing, and it's so like, you know, in 10 years or 20 years, it'll be crazy that humans ever drove. Like, and when I bought this car, people have been asking me like, oh, you bought the car, like sick, like, do you like it? And I'm like, dude, I feel like this is like, I bought this car when cars were a depreciating asset that humans drove. And when I get rid of this car, it'll be an appreciating asset that drives itself. And that'll be like this crazy switch. I'll be like, wow, you guys thought that was fun to just watch the software get a little better? Like,
I know.
Like, that was so lame. Like, it'll just take it for granted.
Yeah, it'll like seem so obvious to people, like, well, of course we would have like the car driving like humans drove.
And what you were saying about the lanes, I think that's a really big thing, is like, why do we like partner with China where they're kind of down to do whatever to just build like a lane on the highway that's perfect for autonomous vehicles, electric autonomous vehicles. And I think like the US government should get on that too. You know, LASF, that's going to get so much easier with autonomy. Like a 6-hour drive turns into like a 4-hour drive because you can go 100 and the supercharging's all timed and like done, and you're working or chilling or sleeping while that happens. And so that could unlock a lot of different pieces of the economy if it's like, oh, I can go, like it's really like lunch in SF, dinner in LA. I was honestly thinking that's a boom for both cities, and like LA is actually going to boom the most because it's like, it's a car city. We just have these cars that pollute and don't drive themselves and are super unsafe, and all the real estate's dedicated to that.
If there was like a perfect lane going from LA to San Francisco, it could even be like separate from the freeway that there is now to go like right off to a supercharger and just be like totally streamlined.
The way they have it set up, these new updates, it's just going to keep getting better, and like, at least for me, I feel like I can see the path to where it gets like really good.
It's like it has its permit, you know, like before you get your license. That's kind of where it's at right now. But I'm impressed. It's so cool to see. I mean, yeah, I feel like it won't be long until it is basically fully self-driving, but who knows if we'll be like legally allowed to like just go chill in the back. So it's not quite like that yet, but you can see how it would be.
Yeah, and it's interesting how even though it feels like a permit, it seems like it's almost safer than the average human driver, and like they're putting out the data with the Tesla safety reports. And so it's kind of funny how like we think of it as not safer, but then in like a year or two, it's going to be way safer. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that happens. Like in 12 months from now, is it going to be like we're having 0 interventions all the time, or is it still about 1 intervention per ride? Like that's where I'm most curious, because it's kind of like, you know, Elon keeps saying it's going to have this big improvement, but it's like, and honestly, it does. I would say it's like, you know, as long as you've been in Teslas, you notice this getting better, becoming more of a thing.
When I first got mine, it couldn't even go on like a freeway on-ramp without me helping it. And then slowly with each software update, it would be like, oh, now I can see stop signs a little better. Oh, the cars aren't bouncing around anymore. So you just see it get, honestly, a lot better in a shorter amount of time, which is pretty cool. And like, I don't know, I haven't tried every electric vehicle out there, but I haven't seen anything close to this. So I think it's safe to say it's like the leading.
Right? Like, could you see any other company pulling all of this off?
I don't know how they would do it. Like, I don't. And how long have you had it now?
I've had it for a month, maybe.
So how often have you found that you use it? Or do you still kind of prefer to drive yourself sometimes?
Yeah, to be honest, when I was getting used to it, like, I only did it to show my friends. Mm-hmm. And then if it's like, all right, I gotta go somewhere, like, I actually want to go there and do it. But now it's been more and more where it kind of does itself, and I get to know where it's good. And so that's where, as a consumer, I think it's already adding a lot of value of, like, I know it'll do really well on this road. I can kind of de-stress and let it do its thing for this part of the drive. So that's already adding a bunch of value, even if it's not totally self-driving. So I think that's the biggest misconception about Tesla and this whole FSD thing, is that it's already good enough to add huge value to the consumer and getting better each day. And so there's a really gradual, kind of clear path to that full vision that's already happening, sort of.
That makes so much sense, because most people have some commute they do every day, and if they knew that route, like the Tesla could handle it at certain points, or they could handle that whole route, that'd be really nice. But I can see how it's like a road you've never been on. Yeah, you're gonna be like, you're gonna want to watch it more. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm like, I need to buy the autopilot. Right?
Now you need FSD.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so funny looking. It's like, wow, like, not electric, not FSD, not electric, not FSD. Like, you see like hundreds of cars and you're like, oh my God, this is all gonna change.